Hey guys, well it's come the time to install the fuel injection K-JETRONIC system in. It's really not hard, you're just basically piping it all back up. But if you notice, when I had it stored, they're all covered, so every port, every line is covered. Yeah, a real focus was on not to get any dirt and dust into anywhere. Little tiny bits of dirt and dust, and not good for injectors. And of course the actual injectors themselves have been covered with a little bit of Glad wrap and Lucky Band. So I'm going to be working on those. They're 13mm, I'm pretty sure, for to get around these here. You need two 13mm spanners to connect up your injectors, and I believe these ones down here, these two here for the fuel reg, is 10mm. Where are we? 10mm. Okay, so make sure you've got your little rubber stopper down here. Mine was perished, so what I did was I pulled it off, dug it all out, and then that is actually silicon. Okay, it's the black oil gasket silicon. I just made one. Let's see if I can focus on it. I just made it, filled it up, there you go, and it's nice. It's kind of like a flat-headed pyramid kind of thing. Yeah, it's good. It's going to work fine. And then there's two. It's just simply two nuts here, and it rests on that, and it pivots. There's a pipe down there ready to go onto this section here, and it's just the injection lines, and there's a couple of brackets here and there, a little bracket that goes on down there, a couple of things here and there. But anyhow, I'm going to start connecting that up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into position and then go from there. Alright, I'll get my camera set up. Okay, so hopefully you can see me. I'm just double checking and making sure that is actually recording, because the camera's sitting up on the roof of the car. Okay, just be very careful when you're moving all this stuff. Don't have any stress on any of your lines or anything. Actually, the first thing I want to do is pull these bolts out. They're pretty long. And I can't get them out. So I'm doing all this in real time. You can see this bolt here, there's two washers, one on the bottom, one on the top, because there's like a rubber grommet on the inside. So you get both of them off. Okay, so they're ready to go. Get some lines out of the way. Alright, so being very careful. Making sure when I pick it up, I'm actually supporting all the lines, and then just gently placing it in. Don't want to scratch plenum and everything. Make sure things are sure I've got that in shot. Make sure things are lined up. Okay, that's resting there now. So that's not going to go anywhere. That's seated in. This is what you've got to be careful of. Hooking stuff up like that. pipe to go on. It's just here. There's a pipe to go on. Back of this guy. There's a little, just there where I'm wiggling my finger, there's a pipe that comes in from under the plenum. It's an easy one to forget, so I'm going to do that one right now. Can fall back under the plenum, so that's why I've tied it up. I'll just pull it off for now. Fingers in there. Okay. You're going to need a tiny screwdriver, small flathead for that. Probably better to do this up before you mount it, just so you can manipulate it a little bit and get in and around it. Careful when you're doing up pipes and that, you don't do things up too tight because you can crush what you're putting your hose onto. Okay. That one says tool fuel regs. He's obviously going to go into there. That one goes back onto there. Okay, so now I'm going to put these two bolts in, which are the original bolts for this. So remember, one washer is at the top, and then there's a washer on top of the of the rubber, and on the bottom of the rubber. In. This one, let's see. Right. So, washer at the top, then there's so I'm connecting up this. So there's a washer at the top, and then there's a washer on top of the rubber. Down there's a good shot of it there. So there's a washer on the top of the rubber, there's a washer under the top of the head of the bolt, and then of course there's going to be another washer underneath with the nut on the other side of the rubber. Okay, it's important to put those washers on because they will protect the rubber, otherwise you won't be able to, well, it doesn't take a lot of torque, but it's just not good for the rubbers. Okay, so I'm going to do those up. I'm going to put these washers and nuts on and do that up. Don't need to watch me to do that, and then I'll get back to you with the next step. Okay, so the next part is the little injector. This sprays a little bit of fuel into your plenum for startup. Some people disconnect them and don't run them. And generally, if your car's starting well without one of these connected, you're most likely running a little bit rich. Not the end of the world, but definitely something to look out for. I've just noticed something. I've got to take these two pipes off again just to get my injector lines underneath there, but that's not a big deal. So I've taken off the two 10mm. So there's a gasket in behind that block. There's a gasket. Okay, renew it if you wish. You could just make one pretty easily. You wouldn't have to buy one. Mine's new, so I'm not going to replace it because no oil or anything goes through there. It's only a bit of fuel, and really the chances of it leaking are minimal. Now you can't get a socket onto these nuts, unfortunately. I've got nice little dome nuts, simply just for aesthetics. So they're 10mm, so you just want to get them on, and then you just have to patiently do these up. Okay, don't do them up tight. Well, when I say don't, I've got little mini spring washers on them. When I say don't do them up tight, I mean tweak them. They don't need to be really tight. You don't want to go stripping threads, which goes for every bolt, every nut. I think I'm pretty satisfied with that. Yep, that feels good. And it just plugs in. There's a little plug up here that plugs in. So what I'll quickly do now is just undo these ones. So it just simply pulls off. I do put zip ties or cable ties on these here once I've got them on there and I'm happy where they are, because probably don't have to. They're not just going to fall off, but sometimes you might hook them or something. So that's better under there like that. There's that little bracket I was talking about. To get that in shot. It's that little bracket I was talking about that goes down here. 10mm. Pulled the stud out, which is not that big a deal. So where you can see that, you probably can't. So I'll try and angle that down a little bit more. How's that? There's a little it goes into the intake manifold. That just screws into the intake manifold. So at this stage, I think I might take my plastic off. Being very careful. They're all numbered there, as in the tape on them. But I mean, it's pretty obvious which one goes where, but it's just good to. So I'm actually thinking. There's a pipe there. I want to get around that pipe. So I'm going to pull that pipe off. Just below the socket. Just pull that off so I can get my injectors around it. Have them run where they should be running, which is under there. Just don't force any of your lines to go anywhere where they're not used to going. That's all feeling pretty good there. Might do that bracket up last. Didn't like that, but I know where it went. Landed on the floor, luckily. I'll do that little bracket up last. That was my little stud that dropped in. Landed on the floor, I can see it, I know where it is, and I'll leave it there for now. Okay. So Spool's very fiddly. Got to keep checking them in shot here. So I'm just putting the pipe back on. That's there we go. It's underneath the injector there. Sometimes I wonder why we weren't made with 3 hands. One coming out the centre of our chest. Wouldn't that be fun? Retractable one would be good. Probably for you guys like watching paint dry. So while I struggle to do this up, so I'm struggling with it, I'm going to get a bigger screwdriver. Once I've done that pipe back up and I'm ready to start connecting up the injectors, I'll come back. Okay, I've got the injectors relatively in place. Now I'm just going to connect up a couple of these lines here. Clicking that one. This blue one. Pretty easy because it's blue. Clicks in there. Okay, now these lines here can be done up. This one goes up underneath. Another one. So there. That. So they're all connected. That's connected and tight. That's plugged in. That's connected. This tape can come off now. Alright. So before I connect up the injectors, I'm going to connect up the fuel lines here to the fuel regulator. So this is saying out. These are well marked. Got little flow diagrams on them as well. And of course this tape is like it's welded on there. Got just here, you might notice I've got some rubber connected to them, to the lines. And that's why I'm having so much trouble getting the tape off, because the tape's on the rubber. Let's zoom in on that. So this rubber here is purely, it's just to protect it, because what happens, I'll get my camera right. Oh sorry, this is crap camera work. What happens, these lines rest on the top here. You can see marks they've made here. So these rubbers are just protectors to protect the lines. So when they rest on there, so this one's connecting up to here. This one's connecting to here, and as you can see, come out mark There we go. So I've got little markers here as well, telling me which way they go. And these are well covered, because I haven't wanted any contamination. Sometimes I tend to overbuild. Like this, for instance. Just connect that up. Just wind that in. Make sure it's seated nicely. So grab your pipe, and as you've got your pipe, sort of push it in and hold it there. Same with this one. So present your pipe. Present the pipe to it, like that, and then come in with your other hand. Making sure the pipe's seated. If it goes tight at all, stop. Okay. They look to me to be pretty close to 17, so I'm just going to grab a couple of spanners. Size of it. Looks like they're going to be 17s. Yes, they're 17 mil. So you want one. Is that in shot? Yeah. Got one on there, one on here, and you don't need to do them up really tight. Once again. This sort of stuff you check when you start your car. And then the other one, once again, we'll go back for this one. Once again, one on one side, one on the other, and just tweak it. Closed. And like I said, you check this when your car's running. You check that these are not leaking. And they're all square. Okay, so they're connected. I still have to put those two nuts in down here for the actual metering unit. They're just two 10mm nuts and washers. Once again, my apologies for the camera work. None of this is rehearsed. I don't rehearse any of my videos, as you can tell. They're if you've watched a few of my videos, I don't. It's nothing flash. It's just straight to the point. I'm not trying to impress in any way. Making movies. Let's just simply get the job done. also attached to this fuel regulator. What should I say? Metering unit. Is this here, little plug, and that plug goes just there. That way, and it plugs in. I plug it back in up there, so it's nice and neat. Okay, so that's all attached. Just that pipe. Let's do that pipe now, which is the pipe that's underneath this one here. I hate hose clamps. I hate doing them up. This is the pipe that goes from the bottom of your intake there, from your metering unit to your throttle. Let's call it tunnel. And yeah, it's the pipe that goes down to your one-way valve. Check valve, I think it is. I think it's a check valve. Don't quote me on it, but anyhow. It goes down to that one-way valve there. That's my retrofit bracket that I made, because that valve is actually, that bracket there actually sits under the original header unit, or header tank I should say, but I don't have the original one. I've got one made, you've probably seen it. Did a video on it actually. So that's all connected. It's connected through here, all this is connected. Okay, this unit, it's all connected. It's connected to the wire, the hose, sorry, at the back of this as well, that comes under the plenum. And now it's just a matter of that bracket under there, which I will do last. That's the bracket just there. But I'm going to put all the lines on now. Okay, so I might move the camera around to the front to give you a better shot, because I'm not going to film doing the back. I mean, this is pretty simple. You just got to make sure you're clean when you do it. Your hands are clean and so on. Okay, I'll set the camera up. Okay, I'm back. Now, first step I'm going to do is just go through and take off the elastic bands and all of that, and make sure that I get it off all of them and that I don't leave anything behind. So you want the top of that injector to be nice and clean. And there's one more. Okay. Now, do not do these up blind, meaning make sure you can see them when you're doing them up. Just make sure I'm in shot again. So I'm going to take that off. It's a pain taking all this tape off, but it's worth having it on there. Peace of mind. Because if you don't get back to the job straight away, you can quickly forget how things go. Not that this is that big a deal, so I'm just making sure there's nothing on tips of these. So a bit of the injectors are clean. Once again, you seat them like that. Okay, so let's do one, because once you do one, then the rest are all the same. Let's zoom in on that. Okay. So you've got to make sure, so you just pull that up a bit, make sure that that gets seated in nicely when you're doing it up. That's all nice and square. And if you can't do it up by fingers, don't do it up anymore. So I'm not doing that right up because I want a little bit of play, a little bit of movement for all of them, so I can put all of them in. Okay, I'll just do one more. This one under here is a bit tricky, it's a bit harder to see. But once again, if you can't do it up by hand until you're ready to tighten it, back off. So I'm doing that with my fingers, but I don't want to do it right up. I just want to, so it's a little bit loose. So that one, see how easy that goes on? I'm just flicking it on. That's what you want. So I'm going to do the other two, then I'm going to come back and tighten it. Okay, well, I gave you a bum steer earlier. It's a 14mm for the top, and it's a 12mm for the bottom one, for the actual injector. Okay, so I've got to do this one and this one. I've done all the others so far, so I'm just going to show you this one on film. So you're basically putting that on there, putting this one on the top one, and you're just tweaking them opposites. So they don't need to be done up super tight, just do them till you feel comfortable that they're done up, not really tight. So I'm just using my fingers like that, just tips of my fingers, bringing the spanners sort of together just so they're tight. If you're wondering what this is, when you're doing them up, make sure that you don't make, your lines don't make contact. See in there? So if I pull that out, see there's a gap there now. Where are we? There's a gap between that coiled line right there and the plenum. Make sure they don't touch, they don't rub. And same for in there, those lines. See there's a gap between this line here. Oh, great camera work. This line here, this third one. So third one from this end, so that one there. And just make sure, see in there, they're not touching. It's not touching here with the plenum. Just there. You don't want them rubbing. You don't want fuel lines rubbing. And also that one there, see how that's touching? So you should be able to pull that back a little bit. Just a fraction, just manipulate it just that tiny bit, so then you form a gap. That one's not so bad, but still, there is a gap there. Where is it? There is a gap there. See that? You don't want that rubbing on there. That would not be good. So I'm going to pull that back a little bit. I'm going to manipulate that and just yank that back a little bit. You can twist it around. Just make sure that comes away from there. Okay, so now all I have to do for the injectors is to do up the little bracket down here. Do up the little bracket down here, and they're all done. These are all in and done up. as you can see. And once again, when you start the car, check each of your injectors, okay, all 8 of them. Check your fuel lines here and here, anything you've disconnected, and we should be good. So now it's just a matter of putting the airbox back on, which I won't film the airbox going back on. I think that's pretty easy. This pipe's still got to go on, so he's going to go to the top there, and then he's going to come all the way around to the bottom of the throttle body. Might as well point it out to you. And he goes to right there, see that port right in the middle of the camera, to the throttle body. Okay, I'm going to get that pipe done, get the airbox back on, and get to the next step. So I guess that's pretty much it. I will get back to you in a sec. Okay, so the fuel injection is on. As you can see, the airbox, you might just be able to see the airbox there. It's on, so everything's done up and all plugged in. I've just got to put a couple of zip ties, cable ties here and there, but apart from that, it's all done. I'm going to now install the distributor caps, spark plug leads and extensions. I'm going to put all them on. I'm not going to film that. I've got a video on that anyway if you want to look into it. It's pretty straightforward. I'm sure you can, you know, if you're thinking about doing a clutch or your sandwich plate, then I'm sure you can put your spark plug leads back on, and yeah, and then basically get to the next job. So pretty much the next job is going to be adjusting my gears, because my gear lever is stuck in place. So I'm going to have to drop the pan of the gearbox and look into that. So I will do a separate video on that. But anyhow, that's going to be my next job. I'll see you soon. Nearly finished. Okay guys, just to finish off the fuel injection one, it's all in. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff on the car now. Distributor caps and leads have been put back on, oil filters on, header tank on and connected, water pipes connected underneath near the cam belts, the pulleys I should say, and torsion bar. I guess it's not really a torsion bar, but it's yeah, anyway, it's an engine mount, isn't it? So airbox is on, so a lot of things today, so I made quite an effort today. It's good. Still got the CV joints to be replace a couple of bolts. I had an earlier video, so waiting for them to turn up, and I'm also waiting for the manifold gaskets. So that's all ready to go. Easy access under there while the exhaust is off. So really it's just the CV boots, the CV bolts, and torque the CV joints up. The hubs, put the manifold on and the exhaust. Engine lid of course, and this, which I will get back to in the next video. It's going to be a separate video on itself. And I'll talk about adjusting the gears and why I needed to adjust the gears. Alright, see you soon.